Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Bold and Beautiful's got a Katie/Poppy problem, plus, what's next for Will? This week, Bold and Beautiful did what it does better than any other modern soap, by sweeping us off to a gorgeous location for some fun and romance in the sun. Meanwhile, it also did a few other things that weren't quite so awesome, including making both Bill and Katie look like the worst parents ever. Read on and I'll explain. Anyone who was watching Young and Restless when Joshua Morrow debuted as Nick 3 decades ago had to have gotten a sense of déjà vu when his son, Crew Morrow, showed up on Thursday's Bold and Beautiful. Talk about the apple not falling far from the tree. And while there doesn't seem to be an awful lot for Will to do at the moment, given as the only kinda sorta age-appropriate female on the canvas is his newly introduced half-sister, that could change if, as is becoming more obvious by the day, Bill isn't Luna's dad. Meanwhile, Will's return was borderline ridiculous, from Poppy's over-the-top scream, proving Romy Park could have a real future in horror movies, to the fact that neither she nor Luna apparently did a Google search on Will or, looked at the pictures of him scattered around the house. Bill and Katie have been saying for weeks that they needed to figure out exactly how to tell Will about the Poppy/Luna situation. Yet during Katie and Will's conversation, it became clear they hadn't bothered to inform Will that his dad had no roomies. And Bill had plenty of time to make sure that his new family members knew what Will looked like so that when his son walked in they wouldn't, scream in horror. But Katie was far too busy revisiting the whole Poppy drugged her own daughter mess. I'd hoped we'd moved far past the special mints ridiculousness, but instead we're doubling down, with Katie acting as if Poppy had Luna doing lines of crack off RJ's abs. At one point, Bill's ex literally declared, he moved a drug addict into the house. And what was with Katie saying she didn't know if Poppy was a free spirit, hopping from concert to concert, or if you're really a manipulative murderer? I mean, are those the only options? As for the ongoing charges that Poppy is and always has been a gold digger, can we just stop? Because that makes absolutely no sense. She and Luna lived a low-rent lifestyle, and Poppy could have reached out to Bill at any point over the years if she'd wanted to snag a rich dude. Not for nothing, Katie, but you were basically a girl from the wrong side of the tracks when you hooked up with Bill, an older, wealthy man. Does that make you a gold digger? #asking for a friend. Why was Zend in charge of taking photos of Brooke's modeling session and working with the social media team? Doesn't that seem like something RJ, whom we've been repeatedly told spent the past few years taking photos and using social media as an influencer, would have been better suited for? And why exactly was Finn there to watch the woman his wife detests strut her stuff in lingerie? Sure, Steffi being there made sense, given that, opposed to the campaign or not, she's co-CEO. But it seemed as if the only reason for Finn's presence was so that Brooke could once again lecture her daughter about making googly eyes at Steffi's husband. Maybe Finn was hanging out at Forrester because the show only has one hospital office set, and his mom was using it that day. Without even meaning to, I think Ridge came up with the perfect slogan for the campaign. While looking at his true love, he dubbed her, Forever Sexy, Forever Beautiful, Forever Brooke. I mean, how amazing an ad campaign would that be? As for the footage shot on location, it was, of course, stunning. But it's also kinda pointless. Shouldn't a big, splashy location shoot involve some kind of drama? Sometimes the writers simply can't help themselves. Why let something be a surprise when they can telegraph the plot point in advance? That's exactly what they did where the backpack full of letters was concerned. Of course, they had to have Shayla discuss the missing backpack and its potential link to the killer just before Luna discovered the oh-so-incriminating letters. Upon finding the backpack, it took Luna about 12 seconds to go from "Wait, is this dude my dad?" to "Wait, did you kill this dude who claimed to be my dad?" So much for that unbreakable mother/daughter bond they've supposedly had all these years. It amuses me, in a weird way, that the show is going out of its way not to say that Poppy slept with Bill and Tom within, best-case scenario, a day or two of one another. But like everything else with this storyline, it's all being made up as they go along, with little to no care about continuity. I hate that Bill and Justin patched things up off-screen. This show does that far too often, from Katie and Carter ending their relationship to this. The sun cast a golden glow over Los Angeles, bathing the sprawling estates of the rich and powerful in a warm, ethereal light. Yet within the opulent walls of the Forrester mansion, a storm was brewing. One that could change the lives of the Logan and Forrester families forever. Katie Logan stood in the grand living room, her expression a mixture of concern and determination. She had always been the resilient one, the one who fought for her family and her happiness. But now, she faced a challenge that even she found daunting. Her relationship with Bill Spencer had been tumultuous at best, but they had a son together, Will, and that bond was unbreakable. However, a new threat had emerged, one that threatened to unravel everything she held dear. Poppy Street James was a newcomer to the Los Angeles elite, but she had quickly made a name for herself. With her striking looks and cunning mind, she had woven her way into the hearts and minds of many. But Poppy had her sights set on something, or rather someone, that put her directly in Katie's crosshairs, Bill Spencer. It all started innocently enough. Poppy had been hired as a consultant for Spencer Publications, bringing fresh ideas and a new perspective to the table. Bill, always on the lookout for talent, had been impressed. But as their professional relationship grew, so did a dangerous attraction. Katie could see it in Bill's eyes, the way he looked at Poppy, and it terrified her. She had fought too hard to let another woman come between them. One evening, as Katie sat alone in her living room, her mind racing, she made a decision. She would confront Poppy and make it clear that she would not stand by and let her family be torn apart. With a steely resolve, she picked up her phone and called Poppy, arranging a meeting at El Dardino, a trendy restaurant where secrets often spilled over a glass of wine. Poppy arrived at the restaurant, her confidence unwavering. She knew why Katie had called her, and she was ready for a confrontation. As she walked in, heads turned, admiring her poise and elegance, she spotted Katie at a corner table, her face a mask of determination. Taking a deep breath, Poppy approached and sat down. "Katie," Poppy began, her tone polite but firm. "What can I do for you?" Katie's eyes bore into hers. "You can stay away from Bill," she said bluntly. "I know what you're trying to do, and I won't let you ruin my family." Poppy's expression remained neutral. "Bill and I are colleagues, Katie, nothing more." "Don't play games with me," Katie shot back. "I've seen the way you look at him. I've seen the way he looks at you. I'm not blind." Poppy sighed, her composure slipping just a fraction. "Katie, you have nothing to worry about. Bill loves you. You're the mother of his child." Katie leaned forward, her voice low and fierce. "I'm not going to let you come between us, Poppy. Whatever you're planning, it stops now." Poppy held her gaze, and for a moment, neither woman spoke. The tension was palpable, a silent battle of wills. Finally, Poppy stood, her expression unreadable. "I understand, Katie, but remember, Bill is his own man. He makes his own decisions." With that, Poppy turned and walked away, leaving Katie to grapple with her fears and uncertainties. Meanwhile, in a quiet corner of Los Angeles, young Will Spencer was growing up fast. At 13, he was no longer the innocent child he once was. The pressures of being Bill Spencer's son weighed heavily on him, and he struggled to find his place in a world filled with power and deception. Will had always been close to his mother, but lately he sensed something was wrong. He could see the worry lines etched on Katie's face, the way she seemed distracted and anxious. Determined to find out what was going on, he began to pay closer attention to the adults around him. One afternoon, while at Spencer Publications, Will overheard a conversation between his father and Poppy. They were talking in hushed tones, and though he couldn't make out all the words, he caught enough to know that Poppy was more than just a colleague to his father. Anger and confusion swirled within him. He had always idolized his father, but now he felt a growing sense of betrayal. Later that day, Will confronted his father. "Dad, what's going on with you and Poppy?" he demanded, his voice shaking with emotion. Bill looked taken aback. "Will, it's complicated. Poppy is, well, she's someone I work with, that's all." Will wasn't convinced. "It doesn't seem like that's all. I heard you talking to her. I know something's going on." Bill sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Will, sometimes things happen that are hard to explain, but I need you to trust me. I'm not going to let anything hurt our family." Will's eyes filled with tears. But you're already hurting us, Dad. Mom is worried all the time, and now I'm worried too. I just want things to go back to the way they were.